Hey, what's up everybody, how's it going? It's Burke, aka Dansg08 here. Welcome to this grey afternoon in London. So after about 3 years, I'm doing a hangout from London for the first time. So it's kind of weird to be back. It feels like it's 2013, 2014 or something. So yeah, some work-related stuff came up. I needed to be in London for a little while, so I'm back here in my home in London with my family. So it's been kind of cool to be back. Just wanted to give you guys an update about what's been happening with like why I'm here and what's been going on, what's going to be happening with the videos and that kind of thing. So hopefully you guys have been watching Final Fantasy XII, and I've been having a good time with that game, doing a lot of side questing with the optional espers and that kind of thing. So most recently I finished off the optional espers. I dealt with Zodiac finally, and there's going to be a little bit of a break in the video. So that's one thing that I wanted to mention to you guys. This is not something really of my design. I could have planned things a little bit better, but a few things happened that I wasn't really expecting. Initially, I was supposed to come over here and maybe spend like 2 or 3 weeks maximum and then head back to Turkey to continue whatever I was doing. To that end, I made sure I prepared a lot of videos. I think I had maybe, when I was leaving, I had maybe like 25, 30 videos like ready on the go, so that when I was over here and I wasn't going to have my PlayStation with me, I wouldn't need to record anything new because I already had like a backlog of videos that I was going to be uploading during the time I was here. So a few things happened, which is going to lead on to the next thing I want to talk about. But a few things happened which caused me to extend my stay, and my stay has been extended by so far that I've run out of new content to upload. So I don't have a PS4, I don't have you know, my Elgato with me, I don't have my microphone, I don't have any of those things. So for that reason, at the moment, I literally have no hardware to record with or to play anything with. So for now, I can't actually make any videos physically anyway. But there's good news. My parents both headed to Turkey today. There's a wedding that they need to go to. And I told them that while you're there, like pick up my PS4, my recording equipment and bring it back to me, because I'm probably going to be here for at least another like 2 to 3 weeks, and maybe I might have to extend my stay even further, and I'm going to be here till the end of November. So if that's the case, I'm going to need my recording stuff with me so I can continue. So I've asked them to bring that back to me. The only problem is that they're going to be gone until next week, so I'm not going to have a PlayStation until like, I don't even know what the day's going to be, but basically for the next 7 or 8 days I'm not going to have my PS4 or my recording equipment with me, so I cannot be making any more videos until, well, probably the next video you're going to see is going to take at least about 8 to 10 days for me to put out there. So unfortunately there's going to be a little bit of a break in videos, but it's been like pretty constant since the start of Final Fantasy XII. It's been 112 parts in less than 4 months, so there's been a lot of content that's been pumped out. So hopefully you guys have been enjoying that, but you're going to have a little break before I continue with that playlist. So I want to talk about what's going to happen after Final Fantasy XII, because that's something that I've been trying to kind of map out in my head. Basically, I want to play a game that's not Final Fantasy. With me, you guys have probably noticed by now, I have this pattern where I get entrenched into a Final Fantasy game that takes me 3 months, 4 months, maybe even longer to upload. Once that's done, I have a bit of a burnout, so I'm just like, you know what, I don't want to play any Final Fantasy for a little while. So I stay away from that. I play a few like different games to kind of release myself from that Final Fantasy space for a little bit. I'll probably be doing the same. I'll be doing Uncharted Lost Legacy. I don't know how long that's going to take. I've heard it's something between like a DLC and a full game, like 8 to 10 hours maybe, or 8 to 12 hours. I don't really know. But if it ends up being like 6 or 7 hours and it's quite short, maybe I'll try to squeeze in a second game that's not Final Fantasy related. But if it does take like 10 to 12 hours, that will be like my little stopgap between Final Fantasy XII and the next thing that I want to do. So that will be like the first game that I do. If I do get a chance to do the second game, probably thinking to do something like Bioshock 2. I know I've said this for a really long time, but I just can't find that window. There's always games that are slightly more pressing to me that I haven't played before that I want to get to. So last time it was, what did I do? I did Tomb Raider, I did The Last Guardian, and now obviously there's this Uncharted game that I want to check out. So Bioshock 2, it always kind of gets pushed to the side a little bit, but I know that it's not really going to get watched, but it's a game that I really want to have on the channel. You know, I think it's a good game. I've always loved Bioshock, so to have, because I've already got Infinite and the first one, so to not have the one in the middle kind of feels a bit silly. So I do want to have that one uploaded at some point. But I'm assuming that for you guys, the next thing that I'm about to say is going to be of a bit more interest, because I'm going to be talking about Final Fantasy XIII-2 and Final Fantasy VIII. So I think it was 2014, like the end of 2014, where I was stuck between doing Final Fantasy XIII or Final Fantasy IX. And what I ended up doing was pitting the two games against each other. So I did the first hour of both games and uploaded both and decided I'd let the audience decide. So whichever one got viewed more, got interacted with more, got more likes, got more comments, got more watch time, all that kind of thing. I tried to put all those metrics into perspective. And at the time, Final Fantasy XIII was a clear winner. So I decided to do Final Fantasy XIII first before going to Final Fantasy IX. Final Fantasy XIII, I think, did surprisingly well because it's not the kind of game that too many Final Fantasy fans love. I mean, over time, I think people have come to realize that it's not as terrible as people thought it was in like 2009, 2010, but it's still never going to be among the pantheon of greats like Final Fantasy X, Final Fantasy IX, Final Fantasy VII, I don't know, Final Fantasy VIII, even Final Fantasy XII. Like 13 is always going to be like a step down from those kind of games. But regardless, people enjoyed that playlist. It got some decent views. People liked what I was doing with the game. So Final Fantasy XIII ended up being a really fun like playlist for me because I've always enjoyed Final Fantasy XIII, and seeing it always, seeing it do well on the channel is always an extra bonus. So Final Fantasy XIII went well. For that reason, I've always wanted to make sure I have the trilogy on the channel because the channel is synonymous with Final Fantasy. Even though I've got tons of other games, Final Fantasy is what this channel is primarily about. So to have like the full trilogy there, I think would be, doing the games justice because, okay, they're not for everyone, but I feel like, it's not terrible. Lightning Returns, there were elements in there that I think were really good, but like on the whole, it was subpar in my opinion. Final Fantasy XIII 2 I thought was cool. It had some decent moments in there. I kind of rank them in the order that they were released. That's my own personal opinion. But regardless, I think we'll have a good time playing Final Fantasy XIII 2, so I do want to put that on the channel. But by that token, Final Fantasy IX was really fun for me. That became my second favourite Final Fantasy game of all time. The whole thing about me playing older Final Fantasies was to do with whether or not I had the stamina or whether it was going to be a good idea to just have to read through the entire game. And that was what put me off doing some of the older Final Fantasies. So Final Fantasy IX was a bit of a pilot for that. And I think people enjoyed that, and I ended up enjoying it more than I thought. Like my session times were shorter on average because I would get tired more quickly. Like if for Final Fantasy XIII, maybe I could go for like 3 hours, 4 hours plus. But with Final Fantasy IX, once I started to get beyond the 2-hour mark, especially if there was a lot of reading and story in that bit, I'd end up feeling like really fatigued. I need to have a break. But aside from that, I mean, it was a really, really good game. Really enjoyed it. I think the viewers enjoyed it as well. So I feel like, old school Final Fantasies, they're classics for a reason. That 7 to 9 block is so well loved by most people. I mean, everyone has their own favorites. They probably have one of the three that they don't like as much, that kind of thing. But in general, those three games are always held up as like some of the best Final Fantasies ever made. And I think it's probably not without merit. So Final Fantasy VIII is definitely something we're going to move on to next. And I'm going to basically do what I did with 13 and 9, where I put 13, 2 and 8 against each other, and we'll see which fan base comes out on top. Because I'm assuming that most of the fan base is going to be for both games, so it's going to be, people aren't going to care too much either way. But I'm sure that one will kind of win over the other, because Final Fantasy XIII was a clear victor over Final Fantasy IX when we first started. And having done both playlists and having had them up for as long as they've been up, Final Fantasy XIII was clearly the game that had more interest at the time. So I think I made the right decision in the end. So as you guys know, it's not a case of I'm not going to play one and choose the other. Both will get played and both will end up on the channel, but I'm going to just see which one has the more immediate interest, and I will decide to probably go with that one first. That is already going to set me on my way towards 2018. And one of the first things I'll be interested in doing in 2018 will be the Shadow of the Colossus remaster on PS4. I really love Lost Guardian. Again, that was a playlist that was absolutely horrible, like about 200, 300 people watched it. I don't care, I had a really good time playing that game. I was going to play it regardless whether I recorded it or not, so I thought why not just commentate on it anyway. Shadow of the Colossus I feel like is a classic. A lot of people love Shadow of the Colossus, so I feel like that's definitely a game I need to tackle. So as soon as that comes out, that's going to be a game that I'm going to be doing on the channel. I may even take a break from Final Fantasy XIII 2 or Final Fantasy VIII, whichever one I'm doing. I might take a break if I'm still doing it, and I'll do a bit of Shadow of the Colossus because it'll be a good time for me to, it'll be a fresh game. There'll be interest in it because Final Fantasy XIII 2 and Final Fantasy VIII, they're not like special remakes or re-releases, they're games that have been around for a long time. Even Final Fantasy XIII 2 now is a very old game, so those, I think they can, if something new and fresh comes out that I'm really excited about playing, I think I can put those playlists on hold and spend like a couple of weeks or whatever playing the new game, so that I can get that fresh like vibe from whatever new thing is coming out. So that's what's going to be happening in 2018. So obviously more Final Fantasy, but Shadow of the Colossus when it comes out as well. That'll be probably the first non-Final Fantasy game that I'll be getting into in 2018. Depending on when it exactly is released, I'm not totally sure. I think it's like February or March or something like that. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. Finally, about videos to come, sprinkled in amongst all of this Shadow of the Colossus, Final Fantasy 12, 13, 8, whatever. What I want to do is focus a little bit on some of my non-like walkthrough type videos. So I want to finish the Final Fantasy X boss guide. The first part did quite well, which was the storyline one. The second one, not so good, but the reason for that is because, you know, Monster Arena Area Conquest is not exactly the most interesting bosses in the world, so that's perfectly fine. But I want to finish off the Monster Arena and also do one for the Dark Aeons as well, which I think will probably do a little bit better. And it's always nice. It's doing walkthroughs constantly. I've been doing them for a very long time, and they have like a set, like for me, I've got my own little routine of how I do it. I have my own little workflow and all that kind of business. So after a while, especially when there's lots of parts, it's Final Fantasy, you're working on it for a long time, it does get very repetitious. And like the work side of it, because obviously there's a gaming element where you're just playing a game, but there's a work element of it as well. And the work element of it can get very monotone, it can get boring for someone like me, because I get like stifled creatively sometimes. So even though of course these boss guys are not the most creative videos in the world, but at least it's a different, I'm exercising different muscles in the brain in order to do those. So it's always fun for me to do slightly different videos outside of my walkthroughs from time to time. So the Final Fantasy boss guys are something that I want to continue doing. Aside from that, I want to do another 10 Little Things video. This time I'll be going for The Last of Us because it's one of my favorite games of all time. It fits the format quite well, so I feel like that's got to be the next game in that 10 Little Things playlist. So that's something I'm looking forward to doing. Metal Gear Solid 3 didn't do so well on that playlist, but that wasn't a surprise to me, because I think after the Phantom Pain, like Metal Gear Solid, the whole hype train just totally disappeared, because the game was decent but not incredible, I don't think. And Kojima left afterwards, and there was all this, you know, problems with Konami and all this stuff. And I think people just thought, okay, like the Metal Gear Solid thing, you know, it's over now. We're never going to see anything like another cool Metal Gear Solid game ever again. So I think people just sort of closed the chapter, the Metal Gear Solid chapter of their lives, and just, you know, got on with whatever other games or franchises they were interested in. So I think interest in Metal Gear Solid in general has really waned. So that's unfortunate, because I'm a huge fan and I still love Metal Gear Solid. I still play the old games. Like, even though I don't upload everything I play, there's still times where like I'll grab my PS Vita, I'll play through Metal Gear Solid 3 again and that kind of thing. I just love it. They're really, really awesome games. So yeah, MGS3 didn't do too well, but I have higher hopes for The Last of Us. Hopefully that will do well for me, and we can continue to add more games to that playlist. Okay, so that is YouTube content related stuff. I want to talk about some pretty exciting things that happened related to the documentary that I made. So if you've been following me on Twitter, this is already going to be stuff that you guys know about, but not everyone has Twitter or follows me on Twitter or whatever. So I thought I'd share it kind of on the YouTube channel as well, just so that maybe there's some people who don't know about it that will be able to find out through this. So I tried to keep it short. Basically, I entered the film into some festivals. I managed to get some screenings, which is basically you kind of get nominated for an award and your film becomes a part of the festival. So you get to have your film physically screened for the public and whoever buys tickets to attend the festival. So that's really cool, because it's like, up until now, it's only ever been an online thing. It's been shared online on some cool places, but as a filmmaker, obviously one of your, a dream is always to see a film, like one of your films, projected on the big screen and have people like coming in to physically watch a film, because that's what makes cinema what it is. That's what created cinema and made it such a great thing, because nowadays I know everything's so much more digital and all that kind of stuff, but there's still something magical about watching a film inside like a cinema, seeing it projected on the big screen. So that's going to be something magic for me. I'm really, really looking forward to it. I'm really excited, and hopefully it's going to give me an opportunity to meet some more people, meet some more filmmakers, because currently, the whole filmmaking world for me is based in Istanbul. I've met people, I know people through there, but when it comes to the UK, I don't really know any filmmakers. I don't know who my peers are, so it's going to be a nice way for me to mingle with some other filmmakers and see what everyone else is doing, and hopefully try to establish a bit more of a filmmaking thing over here as well, so I can do it in both countries. So that'll be kind of cool. So that's where you guys come in, because obviously these are film festivals that have loads of films there. I think The first one has over 100 films screening there, so there's loads of different short films and feature-length films from all over the world. So if you're a bit of a film buff or you enjoy going to film festivals, then this might be something that you're interested in attending. So the first one is Cardiff, if you're close to Cardiff in Wales. It's on this Saturday on the 28th of October. My film is screening there at 11 AM. So I'm going to be there for the screening if anyone is about. The tickets are free. So it's one of these things where Cardiff is trying to raise its profile as a bit of a filmmaking place, a place for filmmakers to come and do work and that kind of thing. So they're trying to boost their numbers and get as many people to attend as possible. So the screenings are free. I'm sure there's going to be lots of amazing films there. It's an honour to be among all of those films because there was over, I think, 1,500 entries that my film got selected from. So I'm assuming the competition was fierce and there were some really good films in there. So I definitely recommend it. If you can come down, it would be a nice day out. Maybe you've never been to Cardiff before, you want to check it out. So yeah, 28th of October in Cardiff at 11 AM is going to be my first ever public screening of Gaming Through New Eyes. So that was the reason why I needed to stay in the UK for longer. So right at the start of the video I mentioned that some things happened that caused me to stay a bit longer. My plan was initially to go back to Turkey after filming some extra stuff that I needed to film here, but then when I heard about this festival screening, then I thought, well, flying there and coming back for this is going to be a bit too expensive and needless, so I decided to stick around. And then I heard about a second film festival that was interested in screening my film, so that's the Birmingham Film Festival, and that one is on the 24th of November. So I think that's a Friday. So Friday the 24th of November at 10 o'clock. Again, all links to all this stuff will be in the description if you guys want to check it out. Again, I will be in attendance, but for that one, it's over a month away, so I'm still deciding whether I should go back to Turkey or not, because I'm a freelance person, so I can kind of be wherever I need to be. I mean, unless there's something where I physically need to be in Istanbul, I can still get my work done here. There's stuff that I do digitally, like animation-wise, all this kind of crap. So I can still kind of stay in London and still continue working. So I need to decide whether I'm going to stay here or whether I'm going to go to Istanbul and come back again. Those of you guys that know about my cat, just a quick note, I haven't left my cat on her own. She's being looked after by my uncles who live in the same block, same estate where I live, so they're taking care of the cat. So don't worry, there's no animal cruelty going on, just so you guys know. So yeah, that's the second one. That's going to be the Birmingham Film Festival on the 24th of November. So I'm going to be attending both of those. If you guys happen to want to watch the films there, you want to attend the festival, I'm going to be there. If you want to, meet me there, I'd be happy to see you guys. It would be really cool to have some more people come in to watch the film on the big screen. The more the merrier. So yeah, I thought I'd let you guys know about that. Just a couple of opportunities for you guys to meet me and to catch some really cool films at the same time while you're at it. So, it's pretty much win-win. So if you happen to be in those areas, they're very, well, the Cardiff one is free, and the Birmingham one, you get like a 2-hour slot worth of short films, and it's like £5 or something like that. So it's really good value for money, and it'll be like a cool experience for you guys as well, I'm sure. But in any case, that's what I wanted to share with you guys. There is a pop-up event. There's a pop-up Final Fantasy event. It's commemorating the 30th anniversary of Final Fantasy. It's happening in London in the Covent Garden area. I will share a link to that in the description as well. I'm going on the Thursday evening. I've got invited to go there on Thursday evening, but that one unfortunately is not open to the public. Because this whole film festival business, I don't have time to go on the other days. It runs from Friday to Sunday, but I'm going to be busy on those days, so I can only go on the Thursday evening. Otherwise, I was going to announce to you guys that I'd be there, and it'd be an opportunity for people based in London to come and check out this pop-up event, and I'll be there as well, but unfortunately that's not going to happen. So yeah, that's where I'm going to be on Thursday evening in Covent Garden, checking out this pop-up event. I'll take some photos, maybe do some tweets and that kind of thing. So if it's a really cool event I think you guys should attend, I'll definitely make sure I let you know. So do follow me on Twitter if you're not, because I'll be sharing stuff on there. And yeah, I think that's all I've got. I talked about the festivals, I talked about videos to come, I talked about the delay, and I talked about the pop event. I think I've got them all. Okay, so I thought I got everything, but I was wrong. It's going to be a bit difficult for me to get the microphone from my camera kind of wired up again, so this is just a quick iPhone recording here. One thing that I forgot to mention was the fact that I'm going to be going to the Distant Worlds concert in London on the 4th of November. So I heard about this, and I realised that the last time they came to London was 3 years ago. And even though it was a bit of there was a risk it was going to mess up my schedule with the festivals and all that kind of stuff, I thought I have to buy some tickets and take a punt on this because I don't want to miss this opportunity, and I had no idea when they were going to come back again and whether I'd have another chance to see them. So on Saturday the 4th of November, I'm going to be at the Albert Hall for the afternoon concert for Final Fantasy Distant Worlds. So if anyone's going to that, if anyone's attending that, I'll be in and around the Albert Hall area, so it might be another chance for you guys to bump into me. So if you're hanging around the London area or you're going to these festivals, anything like that, there's a chance that you might bump into me in the next month or so. So I thought I'd let you guys know about that as well. I will be at the Distant Worlds concert in the Albert Hall on Saturday the 4th of November. Okay, so that's all I got for you guys. Thank you all for watching. I hope to see some of you at either the Cardiff Film Festival or the Birmingham Film Festival. If not, I will continue to do my thing with the videos, just a little bit of a break, like I said, like maybe 8 to 10 days maximum, and we'll be back on that Final Fantasy grind. And yeah, just more content, more of the content that you guys love, and hopefully we will continue for the long run. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you soon. Take care.